Welcome to the Goose One channel. Rumors and hoaxes have been an intrinsic part of gaming culture for as long as I can remember. Playground stories of hidden characters in games like a playable version of Master Hand in Smash Bros, or the ever-elusive and eventually proven somewhat true myth of Luigi in Mario 64. There have been rumors about games for almost as long as games themselves have been a thing, if you count stuff like Polybius. Which is probably something you know already. There's enough videos out there about Missing No, Mew, Sparky the Dog, Playable Master Hand and Crazy Hand, GTA's Ratman, really I could go on. And while I think a lot of those cases are interesting and I have an amount of personal nostalgia for them, they've been covered enough. I want to get into some of the lesser known stuff. And to start off, I'm already going to be bending the meaning of the title a little bit by talking about Pronel. Now, if I really wanted to stretch this video out to like 16 million minutes, I could go on a whole spiel about Undertale and what it is and what it's about and all of that, but I'm gonna go out on a limb and assume you know a little bit about the basic premise of the game, and I'm certainly going to assume you know who Sans is, and to a lesser extent, Papyrus. And that's really the main extent of what you need to know for this segment. In the year of our Lord 2021, Tumblr user TammyCat, now NeanoRaptor, posted this blog post. Not very long story short, she had a dream about Sans' brother being a very different character than he was in the original game. Instead of the goofy, lovable, and tall skeleton we all presumably know and love, he was an eye. A large eye. A very large eye. And instead of normal speech, the eyeball named Pronel, pronunciation unknown, so I'm just kind of shooting in the dark here, speaks in a sort of incomprehensible red haze. This haze also cut out all the music. Now, due to the nature of this hoax, there's not a concrete lore to it. Fans have made their own expansions upon it, like YouTuber Sibyl's GD, another pronunciation I'm just butchering here, who made this rendition of a version of Undertale where Papyrus is replaced by Pronel. That's pretty much exactly how I always envisioned it.
I think that's him over there. Quick, behind that conveniently shaped lamp. Oh my god, it's Papyrus. Sup, bro?
Now, like I said, this isn't exactly a hoax character due to the fact that it wasn't really created with the goal of fooling anyone in mind. It wasn't really consciously created in any sense at all. But the eventual reputation and now sort of semi-real status that Undertale fans talk about Pronel with is kind of similar to a hoax to people who are still getting into this series nowadays. It's sort of a hoax that didn't start off as one, but eventually turned into one by way of fandoms doing what they're known for. Now on the other hand, we have the only Scrupulous Fingar. Fingar fits the bill of a hoax a lot tighter than Pronel does, and I think I like it more than Pronel too. @CutVideoGame is a Twitter account that posts some less than verifiable video game trivia and cut content. And on April 23rd of 2021, they posted this tweet about a mysterious character hidden deep within the files of New Super Mario Bros. DS. This strange, one-headed, one-handed creature would be dubbed Scrupulous Fingar, probably named for its quite scrupulous, I'll put the definition of scrupulous on the screen right now, Fingar that it just points at Mario. While its use or role within the game wasn't directly stated within the tweet, from the screenshot, it's noticeable that it was some kind of enemy, or was supposed to be some kind of enemy. Another screenshot posted by user @ACoolKoopa suggests that Fingar was also meant to be a boss in the DS rendition of Super Mario 64. And that's sort of where the trail runs cold. Scrupulous Fingar is not entirely a natural myth, and due to its nigh artificiality, it never spread that far as a myth in and of itself. While there are a few replies under the original tweet that suggest a belief in this being a real cut feature or enemy, it's not a widespread belief in the larger gaming sphere these days, and it's only been 2 years since the original tweet. No, if we want more of a myth people actually believed in for any length of time, we'd have to move back in time somewhat. In 1996, Nintendo released the second entry in their still successful racing game franchise, Mario Kart 64. Another success added to their tally, the game quickly became a classic and a must-play from their catalog. In one of the tracks from the game, namely Bowser's Castle, there's a thwomp locked behind bars. its hue is strangely green compared to the standard Thwomps normally found in the series, who are more blue-navy colored. And beside that, he's also more reactive to maps or objects in maps in the game tended to be, actually laughing at the player if they got close enough. And this abnormality caught the attention of many gamers. And with attention comes rumors. The prevailing theory surrounding Marty, which was his name, was that he was a secret unlockable character in the game. Now, this was of course a mainstay in video game hoaxes and rumors. Almost every game that had a roster of playable characters had rumors of secret unlockable characters. Ermac in Mortal Kombat, Toad in Smash Bros. Melee, Tailsdoll in Sonic R. Now, the veracity of all these claims varied between cases, but the phenomenon kind of just came with the territory. And Mario Kart 64 was provably no exception. Obviously, Marty did not end up actually being an unplayable character. His iconic green hue didn't even end up being an actual trait of his, but more part of the stage he was in, a part of the lighting rather than the actual proper character himself. And the screenshot that was used to prove that you could unlock him was actually edited, using parts of different names to construct the name Marty. This is why it was often speculated that the name Marty was chosen due to it sharing so many letters with the name Mario, making it an easy edit job, or at least easier than a name like Zachary or Fingal the Thwomp. I don't know, something like that. I don't think Marty is a particularly interesting hoax. It kind of feels like a redo of all the other unlockable characters I mentioned before, but Marty's just not as cool or interesting as any of them. Ermac and Reptile, for that matter, have cool designs and its air of mystery. Toad is an iconic character, I guess an iconic race of people from the Mario franchise. And Tailsdoll is just, well, Tailsdoll. But Marty is just kind of a green version of a very common enemy in the Mario franchise. And on top of that, the edits themselves aren't very good. I mean, the T in Marty is significantly lower than the rest of the name, which isn't the case in any of the other names, which just kind of gives away the fakeness of the editness, I guess. And finally, we have an unlockable boss fight. Or, well, unlockable might be somewhat of a misnomer, because the actual myth of Shadow of the Colossus' 17th Colossus doesn't really have a set-in-stone mythos. Shadow of the Colossus is a PS2 game that already has a numerous amount of boss fights, or colossi, to fight within its world. 16 in the final game, although there were originally plans to include almost 4 times as many as that. At first, the number of bosses was already cut down immensely due to the PS2's technical restraints, but even after that, a lot of colossi were left on the cutting room floor. And honestly, there's some incredibly cool ideas in that beta pile. My favorites include Phoenix, Griffin, and Spider. Some people believe, however, that one of those beta bosses might still be in the game. The most commonly believed way to unlock this secret boss would be to climb to the top of a Shrine of Worship, whereupon this supposed 17th Colossus would appear somewhere. There's no consensus on which of the beta colossi would have shown up, or whether it was one we don't know anything about at all. The only thing the myth really stipulated was that there was one colossi that hadn't been found yet. And once again, the trail ran cold. Although there was a Shadow of the Colossus mystery that did end up going somewhere. It's a really interesting story, and one of the GOATs on YouTube, Jacob Geller, made an amazing video about the whole thing. But the 17th Colossus proved to be nothing but a mirage. And as the trail of the Colossi runs cold, so does the plot of this video. There's plenty more urban legends and boogeymen in gaming to be talked about, and I'd love to talk a bit about those in an eventual part 2. If there's any hoax characters you think I missed, please comment them down below. But for now, I'll see you guys in the next video.